I think the biggest factor that makes our team different is every single player on our team just has passion. We're all playing the game every single day. We're not playing TFT, we're not playing League of Legends, we're only playing Valorant, putting all our time into the one game. And it's like what I brought up earlier for my my wisdom of the year is the more time you put in, the more it will yield. Even if you don't feel it, even if it's like you're playing bad, putting in time matters. Like, and not many people just like grind rank. Not many people just put as many hours in the game as us, and I think that's what gives us an edge. No, it didn't really change anything. They're both very similar players, and that's kind of what we were looking for in our fifth player, is a player that kind of just fills Knights' role, which is just a player that can shoot, a player, like I said, that has passion, and that has chemistry with us. We all have played with Ion before in ranked, or most of us at least, and he just filled the spot perfectly. Maybe a little bit. I think that going in the last time, it was like, we have nothing to lose. We're all just like a random team, we got together, like a pug team, right? And if you lose with that team, it's like, whatever, who cares? We were randomly thrown together. But now that we've won something, I think there is a little bit more pressure on us to keep up like the good results. But I don't think it's anything that will stop us. What can we expect? I mean, absolute domination.
Love that we got to hear from Poppin there about the team, as strong performance on first map of the series. Their map pick for a 13-7 win. I mean, Dan, going into this series, a lot of expectations, and as Poppin said, a little bit more pressure on the team coming back as the stage 3 champions and showing up in our first map.
Yeah, I'm feeling so much better about my prediction now that we saw that map one. And even then, though, I got a little concerned on the second half because the retakes were a little harder to do. That the floating that we saw on the other side, where it's kind of hard to arrange. So it was a retake that took a little bit of those rounds of the patient at force. That also worked out really well for the side of Burger. But now it goes back to what we're used to, or at least what I expected with the double duelist. It was sometimes just running it down and getting away with it.
I love how you have to throw in that you're feling better about your predictions and everything else too, as Ash is sitting here having predicted Burger Boyz. But
yeah,
Ash,
sorry.
welcome to Rankers. I mean, 13 first kills on Burger Boyz end is first off crazy, but Rankers, I wouldn't have been able to tell it with how they're shooting out there.
No, definitely not. And I think that what was a bit difficult as well, obviously you've got Rankers, this is their map pick, heading over towards Haven. But there was a bit of a difference between like kind of the approach that we saw coming out from them. It was very frag heavy on the side of Rankers. For Burger Boyz, we definitely saw them kind of struggling on defense, especially with how much a thorn Inspire was in their side. But you see it in the numbers here as well, right? It was such a strong first half starting out on attack, but that's also expected here on Haven.
And the fact that we highlighted duelists from first end before, Rankers, they have that double duelist. That's what we talked about a lot, and Extra did show up, but even more so here, Ash. I mean, Kane Zera, this ISO, it was crazy.
Yeah, the ISO was crazy. I think what's really nice about the double duelist with the ISO in particular here for Rankers is because Haven is that three-sided map, right? You often see like weak side with the Sentinel, and then in Burger Boyz' case, they're trying to get Bonnie online with the operator, but that's countered really nicely by that ISO shield. And we even see a little bit later some protocoling that they do up against the sniper rifle as well. And I think it made it really difficult for Burger Boyz to find an answer on defense when they weren't able to hold down one of those long sight lines, because the wall as well coming out from Kinzera was used really, really nicely as far as just denying some of those lines of sight.
And when one of your duelists is having an absolute masterclass, like we got to see in this series, Dan's already giggling. It kind of leaves a little bit of leeway for the rest of the team here looking at this head-to-head. This one you can thank Dan for all the ways, but
yes. Oh my god, this is the ideal dream. Literally, Kansera go kill, he will do that. That was the call, and he answered to the call. I mean, 354 ACS going insane on the ISO. It was a lot of the reasoning why, I mean, if not all of the reasons why this team was doing so good on the side of rankers. And Poppin was chilling. He was just sending his utility, helping out, setting Canacera up for success. But then he was just playing back. He didn't even, he didn't even play bad. Like, it's not like he was constantly dying. But it was just Canacera just set up for success, going in with the ISO, getting those kills, going 5 and 2 on first kills. And again, just a dream for your IGL.
Hey, if you're taking a pretty strong victory and you just get to sit there and relax a little bit, I don't think anyone's really going to complain about that. So really exciting that we got to see both the duelists come to life, but especially to cainzero, who we didn't really get to talk about too much before the show, Ash, really be able to come online here.
Yeah, he really was able to. And again, a big part of that, like Dan was talking about, just the initiation that allows him to find a bit more of that information, find that space, and then his own space creation with the wall that he's able to throw up, and then obviously able to kind of continue to just keep re-engaging thanks to his shields there as well. And that also leaves it open for Eggster to play kind of like that more sneak attack style while he takes advantage of all that chaos.
100%. And it's funny because this team where you talk about these ranked players and they can just go kill, it was nice to see a little bit of depth to that as well. So even if Poppin didn't necessarily need to show up in the kills department because cainzero had that, I loved some of the rounds that we got to see, Ash, that was really able to capitalize off of this aggression here too that the team just inherently has, looking back specifically at this round 8.
Yeah, there were some pretty cool set plays that we saw on the attacking side coming out from rankers. And looking towards this one, this is where we were talking about Bonnie trying to get that op online, how rankers were looking to counter that. The ISO generally already being a nice counter considering the shield that he gets to pop. You see the wall going up, denying that vision, and the reposition that has to happen there as well. But then they stick around for a little bit too long. Rankers haven't fully scaled up towards sight, and with that shot missed, it's a great Hunter's Fury just to do that zoning and allow Rankers to take that space, pushing far into back sight. And Inspire was consistent on these backstabs here as well towards mid, whether he was lurking up through B, through garage, and it just felt like W keying all the way.
When you get the W keen, but as well some good strategies and good plays to push out onto the site, it seemed, well, frankly, just unbeatable sometimes for Burger Boyz. So now looking into the series, they did do a good job on that second half, being able to show that aggression of their own. And I'm hoping too that we get to see a bit more of that from them in the second map of the series now that we're heading into their map pick, which is Abyss. And this one, Dan, we don't really know too much about rankers here, but for Burger Boyz, a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, it is interesting because I had just said on the pre-show that I didn't think we were going to see that Yoru being played on the side of Bonnie. Yeah, he played it before, but we didn't really see much of it after, and most of it are race maps that he's more comfortable in as a team. But on this map of Abyss, one of the times that we saw him most recently against Sad, it was Bunny on this Yoru, and they were running this as the only duelist and with the double sentinel and the deadlock and the cypher. So there's a possibility of seeing that again. I feel like it's a composition that can work out, but then again, this is a map where we've seen, I think, every single duelist in the past few months.
This is especially exciting for rankers, for us to see rankers here too on this map, considering that we didn't get to see this at all for them. Though I feel like they have to have a decent amount of experience because, Ash, I don't know about you, but I feel like every second ranked map nowadays is on Abyss, honestly.
Oh my God.
Like,
No,
everyone.
it's true. It's true.
Yes.
The thing is, the more you dodge it, the more likely you're also going to get it, just because of how that
I am a
algorithm
good
works.
Valorant player. I don't dodge. I
Me
sit there
neither.
and I have my time on Abyss, all right?
No, it's okay. Trust me too. I got it so many times last night. But back to what we were talking about here, heading over towards Abyss. Honestly, I would like to see Bonnie swap out that Yoru, maybe just in favor for a Jet, something that would be a little bit more comfortable for him, considering what Dan had been talking about there. I think that it can be difficult because, yes, the rotations are really nice, but then also when you're already dealing with a star-studded Yoru player on the other team, you might not feel so comfortable. And rankers are obviously extremely confident now going into Abyss if they're allowing this pick to get through. It becomes a little bit more questionable in that sense because they are running off of that momentum. And Burger Boyz, I wouldn't be mad if they played it a little bit more safe.
Well, with the agent select ready, let's head on over to that. See, I love the chaos of the Yoru, and even if Pearl wasn't necessarily the greatest one for Bonnie with the Yoru, I think not in Challengers the last time they got to play this was pretty fun. So
cool.
okay, Dream answered, and okay, Ash, there's a lot to unpack here.
Wait, what? Okay, they're cooking right now on the side of Rankers. What is going on? The Vice has been really popular on Abyss throughout VCL, like slowly picking that up from VCT teams, throwing that out there just because of how you can fully like isolate, especially towards that A site and deny that ability to get through that choke really quickly. But then you're looking towards the fact that they're running the double controller, the Clove and Astra. Pretty interesting. I'm curious to see what synergies we can maybe expect with Ion and Eggster, especially maybe with some of those pulls while Eggster's trying to TP in.
Yeah, one last point here that I have is that the Yoru is actually really cool. I really like that we're going to see this head-to-head with the Yorus being the only two duelists on both sides. We're seeing it more. We're seeing Sentinels play. We're seeing G2 play. We're seeing at the very, very top. And everybody's copying this meta with the Yoru. And like Ash was saying, the addition of this Vice that is really cool and really annoying to deal with when you're trying to take control of site.
See, I love all of that. And also, when you have a cracked player on the Clove, also just looks impossible. So we're not going to waste any more time. Let's head into the server, see if this is going to be a 2-0 for Rankers or if Burger Boyz can take it to a map 3. Nerds, Lemon, back to you.
Man, I really thought Sierra was about to say that she also loves us, and that was going to be the throw, but, you know, it's fine. I think she loves us in spirit, nerds, and I love to see where this series is going to end up.
Honestly, same, because I am like grinning ear to ear to see the head-to-head between Bonnie and Eggster, because you know Eggster's more comfortable on it. So in my mind, I'm like giddy about this. And, you know, I will say, whatever happens here, you know, I predicted Burger Boyz is going to win. I have a little bit of, you know, I've seen Burger Boyz play. I have a little info on Matt as well as Alvin, as well as some of these other players. The Abyss, love it or hate it, I feel like it is going to be a lot closer than Haven, regardless of what happens, especially with the head-to-head on Bonnie. Bonnie came alive in the second half of Haven. I feel like that energy carries over here.
The immediate flash, like, holy cow, what a surprise for Rankers to jump out like that. And as the dust settles, you have a 3v3 as people are trying to get rid of the trips and the crabness. Anyway, Burger Boyz have to now start back at square one with barely anything left in terms of health.
Good mid pressure though, immediately on Alvin. Fortunately, doesn't matter if your players are going to go down.
Last player standing.
It just comes down to a death match, 1v2 though for Alvin. Spike left behind, and kind of like last game, Burger Boyz started off with a pistol win, and then it was Rankers taking the second one, and that's when they ran away with map 1. But if anyone can do it, it's Alvin. Definitely one of the brighter spots on the Burger Boyz squad. Except he has to go recover the spike, and easier said than done for sure. Knows his trip wasn't triggered. Checking every corner, panics, and Ion secures the third one for the pistol round.
Just as I was hyping up Burger Boyz. But it makes sense, right? Rankers popping out early for a main control, ensuring that Burger Boyz is not comfortable off the rip of this. It's very common for this squad to get super aggro and take a lot of space here. We did see moments of brilliance out of Bonnie and the rest of the team because they did equalize here. But in terms of health, that was the big crux of it. Nanners was so low. We had Alvin out in mid. And honestly, it's almost like I wanted Alvin to explore more of mid, take that space, be a little bit more sneaky. Kind of how like Inspire was on Haven.
Of course, we know these are ranked demons, but just a reminder that we haven't seen Rankers play Abyss, even in stage 3, and even now. So this is kind of a new comp. This is a new showing, and I guess it doesn't matter. They've just wiped the floor with Burgers. But of course, with the upgraded weaponry, that is going to be the case. But Alvin, poor old Alvin. Man, I thought that first shot was going to connect, but anything you can deny. It already hears the run up on Ion, but man, Ion has been Alvin's op these last 2 rounds.
Ion and Alvin. And at this point, I will say, I've seen, we've talked about Alvin. I've actually, you know, we've seen them play. And one thing that I always note is that Alvin's really good at holding. They play the Sentinel flex controller role really well for their team as that second fragger. And they didn't really come too much alive in Haven. So seeing them really stepping up here does give me a little bit more confidence for the squad on attack. But you got to know, Burger Boyz is starting this off on the back foot. Rankers being up by 2 and having a pretty solid buy and being used to ranked play. Sort of broken by.
Yeah, just the mental gymnastics of having to play against an ISO, like, the Yoru. Just the way that Extra placed his clone to make it look like he was peeking around a corner and it still wasn't shot. So, good stuff. Burger Boyz staying calm, cool, and collected is exactly what you have to do against this team. So, Bonnie missing is unfortunate, and Esther just gets kicked on by a Marshall.
Man. And it's just unfortunate, right? The ranked play is truly winning here in terms of the aim, because some of those aim moments have been on point for the side of rankers. More than just that, they knew, okay, we're going to hold and contest mid. A lot of teams try to leave mid for retake. You know, we saw MVT America, some of that happening, and you leave that. We saw how much of a problem it was for some of those teams. It's the fact that rankers are, even through all of their, what's called just raw gunplay, are having sort of these micro strategies. It's great to see.
And liking the off angles from rankers to hold down the fort. KaneZera makes this look so easy.
It's just a story of KaneZera.
Just give him the ace eventually, like, so he can just make his content. Because, like, how many 4Ks is this guy gonna get in these games? He's farming.
Well, Lemon, you got to be part of the Twitter clip, right? Like the clip, like, oh, ace found, and then boom, it goes.
You're right. I gotta yell more. But it's like a 9 to 5 for KaneZera.
No, it's so real though. Like, just 7-2 right now, and even when they die, they provide so much impact on that Clove, and they're not going to be dying, not just yet, because they have the not dead yet available in their back pocket. So being the top fragger, being able to play on Clove as they are such a brilliant agent for such a brilliant player, on an eco, I feel like the stars are going to align at some point for not only KaneZera, but for the rest of rankers here who have been starting this off rather strongly.
Damn. Oh, Alvin. Oh, wait, KaneZera again? Not again. Stop going to see KaneZera's there. Oh, geez, what a final boss. This is what I thought. Burger Boyz, okay, you got a shot from Alvin. Maybe he was trying to pick up the gun. You got the neural theft. Like, what the heck? Burger Boyz just can't get a chance. Nanner. Oh, man. Ion wins every 1v1, I swear.
Dun, 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 dun. All I can hear is just like, we're seeing the final boss here rising, and it truly is like the story of KaneZera, right? Just look at this. Absolutely aim training out here. Ion's clean with it as well. We've known Burger Boyz to take early timeouts previously. They're on a buy round. They play this out. They choose not to take the timeout. Feel a little uneasy about it. They do still have an entire rest of the half. I remember, believe it was up against SRB, Shopify Rebellion Black, where they did take a timeout early, and they managed to swing some of the momentum back into their favor. So it's kind of rough to see here. Oh, man.
Great to see Bonnie off to a first blood, a good start. As Poppin's just gonna suppress them recon shock bolts to keep rankers back, and popping a bomb. Poppin was ready for it. And KaneZera gets to pop the ult to just still be involved in the party. Just fragged by Matt at the off angle. And Poppin is a nuisance. What an absolute anchor for this site. In the best of ways, of course. Now it's a 2v2 with an op from Egster at the very back as to choose his angles, but with this barrier, it's going to force him to a different angle.
Oh, amazing deadlock utility, by the way. Funneled up towards heaven, and you have, what's it called? A deadlock trip there as well.
The time is running out for the spike. Rankers already hit by some util. There's the bait, and Alvin secures both. He is the only one fragging for Burger Boyz. We'll pull up the scoreboard, but thank God for Alvin and what he's able to do for Burger Boyz. Still at a pretty big deficit. But yeah, 8-4. He needs a team around him.
Yeah, and Bonnie has been good on it. I want to see the first blood stats near the end of this, right? Because they have been pretty okay about getting aggressive into it. And I feel off the dimensional drift, it'll truly start to build for Burger Boyz. We're starting to stack things up. But again, you need to stack things up more and more. Poppin getting 3 there and allowing them so much space is just a little bit disheartening, especially with the fact that you're playing double Senti. You're playing a more aggressive Senti on Nanners. You're playing a slightly less aggressive one on Alvin. These post plants should be a lot cleaner.
Concealment.
And rankers are used to facing whatever. I mean, you know what you guys see in ladder. You gotta expect the unexpected. So Burger Boyz popping on top of the box instead of taking the side angles. Like, rankers are ready for anything and everything. Dimensional drift, are they ready for this? Bonnie is just gonna call out the positioning for now. With Retro missing, you don't have the paranoia. So it's just the flashes from Bonnie, and that's gone too, man. Rankers are stoic in these positions, and Burger Boyz are trying to fight back with shooting the Yoru clone. That's not a good start, but Alvin with 3 can only do so much. Double digits, I'm pretty sure, for that Senti.
My heart just was like fluttering out of my chest. But at the end of the day, it still comes back to how Abyss is played. I think I said this during every co-stream when I saw Abyss, is just you want to have some control of either Heaven or towards CT, towards security more specifically. You want to have some of that space to really contain sight. Because with this new meta, you can't spam post plant. The play off the utility is a little harder. We're not seeing Tejo being brought out for both these teams. You want to contain some of that space. And Burger Boyz comp does kind of provide that with the double Senti. Unfortunately, Rankers is understanding of this and saying, we're not playing a retake. We're just going to play A.
Man, Ion is so clinical. By far my MVP from last week. And it's really hard to pick because all of Rankers are fraggers. But Kane now with the Outlaw. The Marshall, the Outlaw, this is something that Kane has bought. And honestly, didn't even need to with how rich this team is. But they're just good at any type of round, especially ones with the Outlaw. Now, Burger Boyz, a pretty big deficit. Maybe if Alvin can get a 5K, it's winnable. But, you know.
I will say, though, to give some logic behind it, it is a eco/broken buy. You don't know if it's an eco for Burger Boyz or broken buy. They have a loss bonus built up again. So that's where I could see the Outlaw finding so much value. And we already saw it out of Kane's era. Just 1-2 buckle my shoe, and the rest of these guys go down because we have a high-low out of Poppin and Ion. And Rankers get the 6th yet again. It's a story of Haven repeated on Abyss with the Void staring back at you, and you don't really have an opportunity to grab it back. Oh, timeout on the eco. I know I saw it go dark there for a second. I wasn't sure if it was a timeout or replay. I got excited. I was like, this timeout could be huge because they do have 2 timeouts. And I called it out earlier that against Shopify Rebellion Black, they did take an early timeout, and it provided a good amount of value because Matt was able to kind of work in with the team. Now, previously, we didn't see a conversion out of Burger Boyz unfortunately, on Haven. But hopefully here we can see some sort of change of pace. Oh, I like the pip. It's M80.
Well, yeah, a little update. We got that on our last map too. M80 did win that first map, and looks like they are still up against YFP. So let us know if your predictions have been right or not. But on this end, I've been a little worried about Bonnie because last time I saw him on Yoru was on that Pearl map. It was ugly. Not him, just the Pearl, you know, in general. And is this an agent he's comfortable on? Because this is something, it's a very selfish, you have to make the solo play. You have to go in behind them with the dimensional drift. You have to play front to back because you don't have as much of a mobile, like dash, like Raze or a Jet type of thing. So it's a lot of weight on Bonnie's shoulders to be that supreme duelist against, I don't know, an army of duelists on the other side.
And I was just going to say, right, like Inspire has a very proactive play style on Vise. We haven't seen too much out of them just yet, but I have a feeling that if we see Inspire, Eggster, Ion, like any of the individual players, they're so strong solo that you need to kind of how do you counter that, right? The solo potential is just a little too strong. TP's in, gets it for free. Somehow.
Even with the jump peak, he's still brought down to 34 HP. He's trying to converge with the rest of his team, so Bonnie is going to get help, but it is Sheriff, so call 911, but not for me.
Oh, man,
that's this absolute hose down from Rankers. Yet another flawless round.
And that's just going to charge up their ultimates. It's 4 ults here for the side of Rankers. I mean, it's expected. It's an eco round. They're trying to fight for mid, do something different, change up this meal that they have been building. But right now, it's like we're going to the one-stop shop where you ask for a burger and you're somehow getting yourself a pizza. Like, this is a different meal entirely. And the only chefs in the kitchen are Rankers right now. And another big key point in my mind is that if we have the head-to-head of Eggster and Bonnie, Eggster and the rest of Rankers are way more comfortable supporting Eggster because Eggster only plays Yoru, whereas Burger Boyz now has to adapt into this Bonnie play.
And Burger Boyz, you know, they're the ones who chose Abyss, and they lost this to Sad, but have overall been very successful on this map when it comes to the Fun Haver Invitationals, which is obviously a different beast than Challengers in terms of what teams you're going up against. But they also are very strong at Split, but they showed their cards on Split last week. So maybe trying to go to a map that, okay, Rankers are, quote, haven't really played competitively at least. So Burger Boyz, this somehow got worse than how Haven began. But really, it's been the maps or rounds decided by just a mid-duel that Burger Boyz have not been able to break through.
Honestly, I just remember all the Eggster TikToks back in the day playing on the collegiate roster and now seeing them here. Just the glow up from Eggster. And the fact that Rankers have found such a strategy. Alvin picking that up is huge down towards mid. That's going to put a thorn in their side. I was talking about how you want to have this supplementary control of Heaven or these other angles.
Oh, man. Alvin, the GOAT is dead. And he gave you the neural theft. Burger Boyz have to pick up the mantle. And it's Eggster on the Dimensional Drift, 20 HP. I don't think you want to pop out and show him.
But he's locked in.
But okay, he's committing and he's standing in the smoke and he's gonna still catch Bonnie because again, why is someone sitting there is what you would ask, what you would itch your head when watching Rankers, and Burger Boyz get surprised again.
Inspired! It doesn't even matter. Because here's the thing, remember how I was saying, like, it doesn't even matter the individual play, because it's so individualized. Inspire was ready, just prepared for Ion to die and then immediately pick up the pieces where they left off. Just insanely, like, off, I won't even say off meta, but just like, you mentioned this, Lemon. Like, you don't expect someone in the smoke. You just don't. And the fact that Eggster is able to pull off maneuvers like that, get the 1-for-1 trade, and allow the rest of the team to sort of capitalize on the chaos on the entry just goes to show that it is a little bit more cerebral than just, oh, we're running and killing them. We are running and killing them with a game plan.
Yeah, I'll give Matt the pass because he's IGLing, and when you're IGLing, you can use that excuse to not frag, but everyone else needs to step up on Burger Boyz because Alvin not only wants to win, but demands to win. And there's no better team to try and shut up than Rankers. Especially on, I don't even know if they're streaming or not, but Rankers are up 8-1 with the first blood, and now Eggster's doing like backflips off the map and teleporting back. Like, this is content.
It just reminded, I'm just thinking back to the VC Americas games. I believe it was Manzino who was the one who was just jumping off the map. Or no, it was NRG, right? They were jumping off the map to try and gain a little bit of info to TP out. And it's such a funny strat, but it works. Because now they have info like, all right, there's no players within this area pushing back into B. We killed one, and now we can just fall back a little bit. And there's the call to rotate towards A because of it.
All-time smokes there from Ion as soon as he heard some movement. Paranoia in from Burgers, and they're trying to look for any targets, but they're all on the left side, and Rankers holding it down and even going for backstabs, wrapping around. Rankers are never play scared. Any map control you give them, they will take.
I want to note one thing. Inspire has died 2 times. 2 times, just 2 times. And then the rest of the team is just like flourishing. They have ultimates stacked up. They have this really oppressive Eggster. We have Bonnie bouncing around. But at the end of the day, it's just pure unadulterated aggression on the defensive side. They're contesting space early. You have Eggster posted up with Inspire. Eggster has yet to be broken on the B site. And Burger Boyz' only round, I think, I wouldn't say it was kind of like a fluke, but they definitely have been having a hard time containing this space.
Okay, Hunter's Fury with all the info you got off the Or no, that was Bonnie's dimensional drift, just trying to make space, have a teleport back, and maybe Rankers realized that they kind of wanted to throw off the pacing of Burger Boyz by striking early and striking fast. And it's Alvin in a 1v2 scenario and at barely a crumb of HP, but Kane had the ults. And Alvin's just trying to isolate these duels, address them one at a time, but Kane does get his revenge.
And again, Lemon, it just boils down to, like, they went fast. I like the strategy of the ultimate combination Matt was calling for to play alongside Bonnie and support. But at the very end of the day, when all is said and done, they lost Heaven and security control. And from there, it allowed Rankers to just get in and retake. Like, yeah.
Well, 10-1, last round of the half. And Burger Boyz trying to pave your way into the site. Like, B has just not happened. Now that you know the Vice is on that side, way too many hoops to jump through, way less hoops on the A side. Besides, the Senti, that superstar on this side of the map. Gotta be careful. Rankers, or by Senti, I mean Ion. Cosmic Divide 2 to use. Let's see if Rankers are even going to be needing that. First, the Yoru clone of Bonnie was shot, has the judge. The Annihilation from Nanners, I think, was used, but immediately canceled because Nanners died. Rankers aren't playing with numbers on their side, but Exter, see if he can wrap around, call out all the positions, maybe even end up behind Burger Boyz. And Kane is off to a good start, evening up the playing field and leaving the clone in front of them is disgusting. Rankers back on the site. Burger Boyz using the neural theft. Alvin to know what's on the other side in this post play. Time running out for Rankers. And it's coming down to the last few. 1v2 for Inspire, and that's all she wrote. Burger Boyz got around.
Go. They kept some of that security control. Yeah, it fell. And it happens that it falls, but the recuperation was there. They managed to bounce back off of it. Good proactivity out of Alvin, who's leading the charge right now for Burger Boyz. 16-10. Still, interestingly, lower than the double duelist combo on the other end of it. But now that they've swapped sides, they're back on the defense. They have double Senti. I'm hoping to see a change of pace out of them because it's do or die, right? 10-2 is a worse scoreline than we saw even on Haven. They have to find something here to bring it back for Burger Boyz.
Well, at least the playing field gets reset back to pistols, and one step at a time. If Burger Boyz can take pistol, it's not Jover. But it's about how this mid kerfuffle is gonna go, because that's what's hurt Burger Boyz in the past, and Matt has read the Exter Yoru book. And he studied up, didn't even fall for the clone, shoots the original, and this is where Burger Boyz can start to thrive.
Down A.
IGL fragging, popping off.
They're we gave him the pass before, but
I mean, hey, honestly, really good stuff out of them. It's now just down to Inspire and Ion, and they are very good on their own, but like I said, we haven't seen too much out of Inspire other than just staying alive very consistently on the defense.
Just a mid crunch, because Burger Boyz knew that Rankers, this is where they like to scrap at, and this is also where the spike is, but this could be where Burger Boyz have a lot more presence at, of the center of the map and working the perimeter. Second. Staring contest, you lose, but Burger Boyz are just kind of waiting this out.
Just hanging around there. Matt on for the ace.
30 seconds left.
They're trying to give him the ace! Alvin!
Hey, it's a band, right? Not just one-man army here. And unfortunately, Matt with the whiff. I love seeing Bonnie hanging around towards mid, staying and keeping that pressure building up into it so Burger Boyz could start picking it up. And it all starts with the glorious pistol, Matt, the Mattocracy, the matriarch, whatever you want to call it on the IGL, being able to bring this back up and give some life, hopefully, into the team. The call and probably the energy within their team speaker, whatever, is just, it's got to be through the roof after this.
And that gives that hero Vandal to Matt from all the shmoney he farmed up, but Will it be enough? You got an outlaw buy from Bonnie. That'll be holding down mid, and Retro keeps things locked down from any lurkers. Rankers, meanwhile, have the whole squad posted up at B and are going to be playing around B long. That's where their Vice is sitting. And Burger Boyz have to retake. You already have Bonnie on top side, trying to take angles around, hiding through the smoke. Kane can just dip back into cover, and kind of Alvin reveals himself first, so Rankers get the advantage of surprising the Burger Boyz retake. And this post plant is pretty solid, despite it being all pistols and one sheriff.
And Inspires lurked up through, so now it's just back down to Retro in a 1v2.
Know exactly where Retro is. Hero Vandal, not a lot of HP. Retro keeps his cool. Ace attempt. Inspire picks up the outlaw and is... Oh, that's disrespectful.
Hey, that is the mark of Inspire. That is like Inspire, like tier 1 talent, going into tier 2, like bringing some of that, just not only age, but also just wisdom and experience of timing and being able to find it. And I think I even kind of gasped. I was like, wait, Inspire is coming up from mid. This is looking a little bit like scary, because even though we see, right, Retro is popping off, the fact that they couldn't like have some of those gaps still shows, you know, Rankers is doing a really good job of playing how they've always been playing. Allow Inspire to cook up through. Kane's popping off. Egster is baiting all around and making sure that the bomb isn't going to be fully stuck.
Oh, Alvin will be stuck 6 feet underground, and Matt just gets locked by a Vice wall. Talk about getting read like a book. First, it's Alvin, well, shooting the drone, obviously, reveals his position, gets smoked off, allows Rankers to walk up and shoot through the smoke where they last registered Alvin. Like, Rankers, I mean, I'm not talking about like triple-digit IQ, but definitely a solid read on this round from Rankers.
Ah, man. We talk about, you know, upsets from Burger Boyz, but Rankers, this is just, it's somewhat expected almost. Like, this is such domination. Like, exactly what you'd expect. And we're going into what could be the final rifle round of this game. Some ultimates stacked on the defensive side of Burger Boyz, but the layers just aren't there. It's like an omakase burger instead of just like it being built up together. I don't know if that makes any sense, but at the end of the day, I mean, 12-3 is such a wacky scoreline already.
Rankers gonna go knocking at the door of B with Cypher, Senti waiting. Alvin trying to obscure their path, slow them down, delay so that reinforcements can come through, and Burger Boyz have Bonnie taking top side, funneling in as the rest of the defense. Rankers already using ults to break up and shake up the structure of Burger Boyz. They know are close by, and Rankers are on the hunt. They're on the prowl, and Bonnie answers, spits right back, gets 3. Tables are even though. Rankers match point, and it's all up to Ion to close it out, or for Alvin and Bonnie to buy themselves a second life. And it's Ion that can't close it out yet.
Man, Ion bringing it down to the wire here. A round desperately needed out by Burger Boyz. We see Rankers cooking it up, having so many ultimates together, but yet doesn't really work out. I mean, the Steel Garden from Inspire as well. We see Ion farming up theirs close to for Kane Zera. Burger Boyz now needing to carry this momentum forward from the pistol to, you know, round 16. I will start believing when it's like 10-12. But for right now, every round is do or die, right, Lemon? It's like you have to lock in. What a lineup.
Ooh, Cosmic Divide seals in the site. And if you're playing there, ooh, that is not a lot of space to work with. And that may just be Burger Boyz having to play for retake. They'll have a safe right side of the site to play with, but you never know when Rankers can just pop out. Exter, no flashes though, so that's one less thing for Burger Boyz to worry about. And you don't know what's on the other side. And what a quick flick from Alvin as soon as Exter popped out. Nanners with the read through the smoke. Bonnie calling things out with the dimensional drift. And Burger Boyz, one step at a time, can make this winnable. They're only up by 1 though. But the spike is planted, currently being defused. It is smoked off. Burger Boyz holding on, and it's just Poppin who's going to decide to save the Vandal.
investment in terms of ultimates from Rankers, but the retake is stuck. The read from Nanners coming in clutch, as well as the play to push out. I think Eggster was trying to get a little aggressive outside of that wall of the Astra, the Cosmic Divide. And those small little pieces, we're starting to see some of that aggression come back to bite Rankers here. Really worked for Burger Boyz on their re-entry. Alvin now not only leading the charts, but also having an ultimate in the back pocket. We've seen how solid they are in terms of getting those frags, so it's a matter of finding the opportunity for it. And on the flip side, the only contest is Poppin's close to theirs, and Kane's there already has it.
Or it's being tapped, and Burger Boyz, I like that they're confident enough to go for the paranoia to try and peek, and even through the one-way, Burger Boyz tried to go down with a roar, and Rankers off the one-way. That's all they need to do is shoot the little toesies, and it's just the Kane ult to get them back on their feet, and it's Alvin, the last one left in a 1v4 against 3 Vandals and a Sheriff, and there's nothing more he could do. Rankers with a 2-0 sweep will finish week 2 2-0.
Sweep is definitely a correct phrase for this. I did not fully anticipate Rankers' game, and now watching them, I am just in awe. The content that they build, not only for the scene, but also in the way that they play, the synergy that they have is just beautiful. How they're able to kind of win through here. And I honestly, like, this shows, like, they are the victors. And in my mind, I was kind of questioning, like, you know, it was during, right, around Thanksgiving when they won Split 3. So it was like, was it, you know, people were a little bit more relaxed, or was it that Rankers is truly brilliant? And now, yeah, it's Rankers really having those moments of brilliance of just being able to not only go and shoot, but also have layers of utility. And even when we see moments like, you know, Eggster is going a little over aggressive, you have the rest of the team back. They're able to clutch it out near the end.
It's really hard to point out anything wrong with the 13-5. And I think, if anything, this sends a message that I think people just don't respect ranked players enough to think that competitive and ranked is separate, and it is. But those skills, how they transition, really proves that Rankers, I think, can inspire that next generation of ranked demons to come out and try out challengers, because there's open qualifiers. Anybody can be the next challenger. But that is our 2-0 sweep. We're going to throw to a break. We're going to hear from the desk to see what they think about our ranked demons, and we'll have our next match very soon.
Honestly, it's great because last year this team formed with, we have 4 players from our old team, and that team kind of fell apart. And then towards the end of the year, we came back together, and we're back as like 4, and we picked up Nanners as our new 5th. And it's really like rewarding to see all the hard work that we put in, from like playing like tier 3 events and Premier, like pay off, and finally we qualified for Challengers. And then we had a big upset as well, the first match. So that was very big for us and very motivating. Well, we definitely had some issues with roles with this guy, because we have basically 3 Senti players, 3 people who play Senti. Me, Nanners, and Alvin were originally all Senti players. So we had to figure out roles pretty fast, because we weren't scrimming for a while, and then we started scrimming halfway through January. So we had to figure out roles fast. But I think he's been an upgrade as far as like vibes and comms. Like, he's very, like, he's always one like cracking jokes or saying something funny. Like, he's always there keeping the vibes up, never complaining, never really saying anything to ruin the mental. Honestly, from the match that we've played so far against Shopify Black, I would say it's a lot different. Like, they were way more organized and structured with how they played, which was kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, it made them a little bit predictable at times, whereas in tier 3, like, you'll never expect Pickle Spear to swing through a smoke and get 2 and just be by himself while the rest of his team's at A. Whereas these guys, they're kind of playing more together, they're trading better. So I mean, there's pros and cons to both. Honestly, I mean, we started the year with a big upset. I would say that a lot of people weren't expecting us to be competition. So just expect the unexpected, right? Like we're gonna show up, we're gonna play our game no matter who the opponent is.
One enemy. My blind is dead. One enemy remains. Last player standing. Player standing. One enemy remains.
All right, so that's going to be a 2-0 victory for Rankers. A pretty quick one, honestly. Dan, they hit the server. They did not leave any crumbs, and they have a full evening to queue some more ranked, I guess.
That was way too fast. Come on. I mean, we knew that. I mean, map 1, we talked about the duelist, the double duelist. We knew that they were kind of running it down. But this was way faster than we expected, especially because just last week's era, we were talking about, oh, this match is one of the fastest ones that we've had. But this one is beating a new record. Insane what rankers were doing. Knowing exactly how to just play for themselves, play very individual, and that's just their style. You're not seeing these fancy macro plays from them. You're just seeing them literally run it down, get the first pick, and even on that map 1 in comparison to the second one, in this one they got so much better on getting those first kills. But if not, it was a constant game of trading where you can see those pieces being highlighted the most, like Kansera, and even on the other side, Alvin doing really good. But it's just there's no comparison here.
Yeah, I think what is difficult too for Burger Boyz is it was kind of the opposite story, and that was kind of similar on even going back to our first map of the day on Haven, was the spacing from them just wasn't really there for those trades. We weren't seeing them be able to follow up for each other. They were taking a lot of risks and finding very little reward for that as well. And we definitely saw them kind of fall apart on Abyss, which is the map that we were kind of favoring Burger Boyz on. They've had success on Abyss previously. Meanwhile, this is a great first look here for Rankers.
I mean, even if we didn't necessarily have prior information for Rankers, considering the amount that they play, I'm not surprised that they had some things going for them in terms of this map. And especially too, since Dan, what we've gotten to see a lot from this team is just, well, just pure gunplay, just good core mechanics. And beyond that, what else do you need?
But I mean, I want to highlight a little bit something for on the side of Burger Boyz is Alvin did so good, 21 and 13. He was initiating these kills, initiating these rounds, and so many opportunities on the attacking side. And then you see a Bunny that is not really doing that. And we talked about it a little bit if the Yoro was the right pick or not, because they didn't really find success on it when they played it on another map. At this point, you're thinking, we need that duelist to create that space, especially if you're playing against this overwhelming composition on the other side, or rather overwhelming team on the other side. And that's something that I want to see for next week, for next match, because it cannot be like this. It cannot be that this Rankers team is just gonna get away with it. At some point, somebody's gonna have to stop them. But I mean, I'm also having fun, so maybe not yet.
Give us some more cool head-to-heads to cook, maybe. But yeah, I agree with Dan on that. I think even following back to talking about Bonnie on that, the questions that we had, this is something that we even saw last year throughout the VCT season. Everyone kind of pigeonholing into that neon comp and the neon meta that was coming in, but it not quite favoring the play style of every single duelist out there. And we saw teams kind of pulling back, shifting away from the meta that everyone's kind of following and going back to what's more comfortable for them. My mind gets drawn to like CNED on Foot last year. He made that change back over to the Jet and the Rays, and he looked a lot more comfortable, and that's when they started to see a little bit more of those results. So yeah, maybe that might be the case in this situation too.
I mean, there's a couple players in the server that I swear you can throw them on absolutely any agent and they're going to look just as comfortable. And one, Kansera. We have to talk about him again because we got to see, you know, that double duelist in the first map. We saw that ISO, and then second map onto the Clove. And, well, Dan's still just absolutely popping off like crazy.
In a way, Clove is a little bit of a duelist. I mean, if a
Pseudo-duelist.
duelist has to play smokes, you know they're gonna be playing clove. But I get it, and he did amazing. We saw plus 28 from that map 1 and the map 2. We talked about those players being really good individually, but it was a lot of those entries that we were seeing. I mean, he ends up the whole series 11-2 on first kills, first deaths. That's insane. And it continues this trend here that I haven't forgotten about, that we were mentioning last week, of these duelists that are unstoppable, that are getting crazy amounts of ACS, almost 400 overall for this series. And one of those players that you need to keep an eye on. And honestly, the whole Rankers team may be a little bit underrated at this point.
Yeah, and I think even the Clove pick, we've seen Kanzera on this before, not super often, but it almost even reminds me of the ISO on Haven as well, in a way where we saw him using the contingency to be able to kind of play for himself and isolate those duels. And it was kind of a similar story here with the close smokes that he's able to throw down for him as well, and then have that vulnerable go out too. So almost kind of like a little bit of a parallel in that sense.
I mean, absolutely crushed it in the server. So I'm glad that we have none other than Kane Zero on call as we head over to our interview, get a little bit more insight on the team and everything else. Congratulations on the win. Congratulations on your own performance as well. How are you feeling? Your back hurt at all after that? You're putting out quite a performance out there.
No, I'm actually feeling pretty chill. I was just having fun, making jokes with the friends, and we just like beat a bad team, a really bad team.
All right, got some words, some fighting words already to be kicking things off. So I'm excited to hear then how you're feeling with this team, that you're now in a league environment, considering stage 3. I mean, it was just this ranked team coming on in, and now this the Swiss format, people are trying to anti-strat and prep. Has anything changed at all for you guys?
I mean, we scrim like a little bit, not that much, like maybe like 1 scrim per week, just so we like know each other. We have the chem still, but I mean, we think most of the teams are horrible, so we're just gonna dominate and just win everything.
So
just
in
like
your
stage
mind,
3.
in your mind, just already 2 weeks in, Rankers #1, no ifs, ands, or buts.
100%.
Okay, I like the confidence. This is a smidge of a different Rankers than we saw last time, considering departure of Knights, Ion into the team. So I want to know where you found him, how he's been with the team so far.
I mean, Ion's been like one of my best friends in like the Valorant community for like years now. So we just gave him a shot, and then he was playing pretty well. So then we just put him on the team, and I think he'll be better than Knights, because Knights is bad anyways. So we'll be good.
You can't say that about your old teammate. Come on.
I mean, just being honest.
We're not holding back today. Okay, so in your mind, Rankers #1, you're going to stomp through this season. Of course, now that you're in Challengers, the whole thing people are working towards is Ascension. Make the grade to Ascension, move on into VCT Americas. Is that an overall goal for the team as well, or where is Rankers' minds at heading into this year?
I mean, we were already like set that we're just gonna win Ascension and just dominate. So we're hoping we take the team to tier 1. I don't know if I could compete since I'm not 18 yet, but we're just trying to win everything we can.
You know what? I love the attitude. You guys have been running down to the server. Quick win today. So you guys earned an early night. So I'll let you go off. But thank you for your time. Have a good rest of your night, okay?
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, some strong words coming out. Love to hear that fighting mentality. Of course, even if that was a fast series, 1 more on the day. It's going to be Shopify Rebellion Gold going up against Nightblood Gaming after a short break. Stay tuned.